Okay, let's give Aart some airtime. Aart is a native of the Netherlands, as you can surmise from his name. He went to school in Germany, but then got his PhD in the United States, and he joined GE and researched Triangle Park. What was going on there, and what gave you the motivation to leave GE and start Synopsys? Give him the microphone, please.
Sure. Well, many of these things came about pretty accidentally, starting with the coming to the U.S. and arriving here for
Well, tell us about that, because we're in a chat phase.
It connects. I walked into the university to get a PhD the same minute that the new chairman of the EE department walked in.
And what was your field of study within double?
Electrical engineering.
No, but within double, what was your, like
no clue what it was going to be.
Really? Okay.
Holes and electrons was sort of my
big difference.
general direction.
He and I have the same degree, but he was in time sharing, and I was in linear systems theory and control, optimal control.
Okay, anyway, repeating on my story.
Tell it.
I walked in, a new chairman, we got to talk. He somehow took a liking, changed himself to be my advisor. I had no clue what an advisor was. That was all fine with me. And it's only years later that I understood this person was Ron Rohrer, who was also the father of the SPICE program.
Wow.
And I had no idea what SPICE was, so all these things were fine. But that's how I got into EDA, and for a number of years he tried to teach me circuit simulation. But in the process, he very quickly moved to General Electric, and after I finished the coursework, he suggested I come work there, and finish my dissertation at night. What a wonderful idea. But as I worked there, they were in gate arrays. And so Doug mentioned the cell libraries. We have had a different approach with SLA. Gate arrays was also sort of coming up at that point in time. And so these were pre-arranged set of transistors that you could connect into gates.
By the way, your issues are on the screen.
Can you please just stop this? It's very...
no problem.
I see eyes going constantly and wondering what it says about me. And so by accident, I read a paper by a fellow by name Shelley Akers. And Shelley Akers was the inventor of BDDs, binary decision diagrams. And the reason they were interesting is because a multiplexer is a binary decision device. It selects this thing or that thing. But the key was that he suggested that multiplexer arrays could be more efficient than gates, meaning NAND, NOR, and inverters. And so with a friend of mine at GE, he designed not a gate array, but a multiplexer array. And yes, one could implement something more efficiently, except that no designer knew how to do this, because everybody did Carnot maps and knew how to do with gates. And so then the idea came up, well, what if we just write a program? Just write a program. That's how many things start. We just write a program to do this automatically. And we quickly discovered that the more efficient way to do it was actually a combination of multiplexers and gates and inverters. And that became the MLA, the multiplexer logic array. And with that came a program, later called Socrates, that could automatically implement this. First part of the story. Turned out it was actually successful. I did not know at that point in time at all that we had sort of invented our own form of synthesis. It was just a program we wrote to do it. Move a few years later, it's now 1985, 86. It's the worst downturn in semiconductor history prior to the 2001 downturn. And not realizing that, General Electric decided we're getting out of semiconductors. Here's a big conglomerate that's very, very stable with financial systems and aircraft engines. And here's the semiconductor industry does this. And from one quarter to another, they could be in a loss situation or a gain. With other words, we were going to be laid off. And it's in that context that I got to know Suhas Patil, because I interviewed at his company. And I must say, he had a fabulous idea, and it was very, very attractive. I still have the job offer.
Right, that was Cirrus Logic in what, 1986, 87? So
it was 86.
And
I'm still thinking if I should take it or not.
But the thing was, he said, I might start a company. So the deal was, if he got funded, he would start a company. If he did not get funded, he had a home.
That's probably what I told
Good
you.
deal.
Fortunately, you got the funding.
Well, and so then came a whole new set of decisions, which is, we had this idea, and the question is, well, what do we do it? Is it okay to start a company, to do something? Plus, what does that mean? We were in North Carolina, a bunch of kids really not knowing what to do. And the first key decision, and I think it's a great decision to this day, is we put together a little proposal and went to GE with it and say, it's your technology, even if there are layoffs on the horizon. What do you think about helping us start this? And through a set of circumstances, I got the opportunity to speak for 1 hour to the vice chairman of GE. So I'm this peon at this level, and this guy is at 26 level above me. But I think either he felt sorry about these starry-eyed kids being laid off, or he actually really saw something in the idea. But the bottom line, he said, yes, we'll fund. And it was a combination of technology plus some, about 400K, I think, adding up to $1 million worth of equity. We'll fund if you find 5 others. Well, piece of cake. That's when the cold calling started. But fundamentally, the starting of Synopsys was accidental in many, many ways. And it was
And you had a
strong
partner, according to Ted Hopp, your partner.
Sorry?
According to Ted Hopp, who emailed me today, you had a partner in founding Synopsys that at one time worked for Intel. No, that's what he told me.
He is my co-CEO today. It was not founding. He joined us about 3 years later.
Oh, okay.
Chi-Foon Chen, yes, he was at
That's
Intel.
the
He
guy.
worked with Ted Hoff. He has been, let me just be clear, you're not successful in these things ever doing it alone, in my opinion. And Chi-Foon Chen is just an amazing person who...
So he's still with Synopsys at this day?
He's the co-CEO.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
So yes, he joined us when we started to build up a substantial support team, and he was in charge of that.
Thank you very much, Art.